Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ruach Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Those That Receive It. And pretty much this is a lesson centered around a movie I just finished watching, which I was actually watching the brother Aisha Yar's video, the one of the heads of the head of the one of the North Carolina camps, and he did a lesson earlier, which he said he would do the lesson, and after the lesson he would take it off of YouTube and put it on. I believe he said Odyssey or one of those other sites. And I just finished watching the movie, and pretty much, whoever put that movie together, I mean, they gave the name of the person at the end. I can't remember right now. I mean, I could look it up here somewhere. But pretty much what they did was they pretty much, all right there, Fabian Dufitz. That's who directed it. All right. And you could tell that they read the scriptures. They read, what the MO to the TB is and the different prophecies concerning it, And I just wanted to speak on a couple of things. You could watch it on Tubi for free, and if you make an account, which is free, then you'll be able to use the option of continue watching. Like if you watch something and you don't finish watching it, when you go back, it won't start from the beginning. Otherwise, you have to start from the beginning again, so you could set up a free account. So this is the movie here, Imp to the Lanted. Got to say it that way because you don't know certain words are on the algae, on the algorithm. But this is the description. It says, Sarah, a struggling young woman, agrees to volunteer as a test subject and be imp to the Lanted with the Lex Nano-C-Hip for a pharmaceutical company experiment. She hopes that the money received for her participation will solve her financial troubles. When the imp to the Lant turns sinister and orders her to commit crimes, Sarah is plunged into a murderous spiral with only one choice: to live or die. And pretty much, that's the synopsis or the, explanation or summary of the movie, and they show you in that movie, people getting it. And the ones that they pretty much show getting it, when you see it, is mostly a lot of Jakes. They show you in the movie. They try to show you the Judite man, mainly, like he's just a dumb numbskull, that doesn't know anything, doesn't know his ass from the hole in the ground, which a lot of these Jakes out here don't. But they try to make them seem like they're incapable, And I don't know if they did it that way because, they're targeting the ones that are, desperate, the ones that are not too bright. But pretty much all of the Jakes that you saw in there, they pretty much made them look like that, made them look like they're, incompetent, right? They're not that wise, which scripturally, a lot of Jakes aren't, but, you do have certain Israelites out there that do look up stuff and are, that can hold a decent conversation, so to speak. They can, they're pretty smart according to this world, but the way they made it seem was like, like the plantation all over again. So I just wanted to go through a couple of precepts because they put the imp to the Lant on the back of these people, and it's pretty much somewhat like that little clown Uzi Vert, whatever the hell his name is, little Uzi Vert or whatever the hell his name is, that has that diamond thing in his forehead, and it's, they actually cut his forehead and however they put that in there, but that's what it kind of looks like in people's back. And they show you that when they put that in people's back, that one chick, Sarah, her back in the area where she got that thing put in, it started to get bruised and black and blue, and pretty much that reminded me of this precept here in Revelation 16. We're going to start the first verse. The point is in verse 2. It says, "And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth," right? Because this is the final analysis, is the destruction of America. And these vials that are coming are different, pretty much are the destruction, but then things leading up to the destruction, Jacob's trouble, all of that is a part of it. The MO to the TB and the effects of the MO to the TB, all incorporated within that system. And they show you that, the reason why they did it was they got the desperate, the ones that were at their wits' end financially, and that's who pretty much they were targeting in the movie. But when you see the movie, the part where people are waiting to go in, and then when they go in the interviews, a whole lot of them were pretty much Jake, So it goes on to say, "And the first went out and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the M to the A to the R to the K of the B." All right. And that's pretty much what they showed you in it, like this thing around the site where they cut into, the woman's flesh. They show you that it was bruised up, and she was in pain. And that was another thing, it says, "And upon them which worshipped his image," and that was another thing in the movie. She was saying that she was tired because she gets no rest, because this thing that was in her pretty much was programming her mind, to do, commit all these crimes, And I'm not going to give too much more. This is the chick right here, Michelle Girolami, and these are some of the guys that were in there in the movie, So that's pretty much, what it is. It controlled, people's minds from that thing that was in them. Now they showed it in the back, but we know that it's, going to be either the hand or the forehead, but it doesn't matter where they put it at. It's all a part of the same program. And this devil Harari, he keeps speaking about that, and he keeps speaking about that, and he keeps speaking about having it done subdermally, meaning under the skin. You see, because that's the ultimate form of control. And it shows you that pretty much when she took that was pretty much, she was pretty much a slave to that system, and there was nothing that she could do. And if she refused to do something, or any of them refused to do anything, they would pretty much cause pain, and if you get too uppity, they put the person to death. Now when we go to this word M to the A to the R to the K, which is charagma, it says of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the Antichrist. Right. The badge of the followers of the Antichrist. So when you have a badge, meaning what? You work for somebody. You see? So that's what what's the word I'm looking for? Pretty much a mark of slavery. All right. It says the mark branded upon horses. Right. Because you're going to be what? You're going to be branded because you will be property. And that's how the international banking families look at the world. This is why they put the world in what? In a total debt. So much debt that it would be impossible for anyone to get out of it. And they weren't worried about it getting paid because they weren't worried about collecting on it, because they knew eventually they would collect the people. When you go back to Egypt, Egyptians, when they had nothing else, when they sold, when they ran out of money and they sold their cattle and all that, they had nothing else to pay. What happened? They gave themselves up for into slavery and their lands. They turned them over. So pretty much they were at the mercy of the Pharaoh, and which the one that was in charge of collecting and all that was Joseph. So they're not worried about collecting those debts because they know eventually they will, by setting up this system, of the beast, which is going to pretty much, either you comply or you're going to be cut out of the whole system. And this is a way that they're going to collect their debt. It says thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. All right. So the point is that it's a badge, it's servitude right here. See, a scratcher etching, an example, stamp as a badge of servitude. In other words, that would be the badge. Like you have a badge to get into work, and you will scan it and you will be able to get into the building. Well, it's going to be the same thing. It's a badge of servitude. In order for you to operate and move, you got to have that. That's why the Lord said that my servants shall eat. So the servants of the Lord, the elect, don't have to worry about this. It's only the ones out there that's outside of the grace of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai that have to worry about this. All right? Yep, that's it right there. The brother brought it out. Genesis 47:15. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread. For why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. Verse 16, it says, and Joseph said, give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. Right? And it goes on, it goes on as you read on down. It says servitude, the state of being a slave or completely subject to someone more powerful. Right? Because the word subject, servitude, or the word subject, it's a compound word. Sub is under, and ject is rule. So under the rule of who? The international banking families, which have established all of what you see by taking over the currencies of the world. So going on in Genesis 47, and they bought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. But eventually they ran out of all of that, and they had to eventually give themselves and their land over. So they pretty much became total slaves to the Egyptian. The Egyptians themselves became total slaves to the Pharaoh. All right. So, like in the movie, the woman had said, Sarah, she had said that she has no rest. And it made me think of this scripture here, Revelation 14:11. And the smoke of their torment is sendeth up forever and ever. Right. And now this part right here is going with the destruction, which that's going to be the ultimate for those that, comply and take the MO to the TB, which is the C hip. And once they take it, it's going to be game over. That's how the fate is going to be sealed. Right. So that's going with the verses previous to this. But then when we go on and read, it says, and they have no rest day nor night. This is dealing with those that have received the MO to the TB. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the M to the A to the R to the K, or of his name. See? So this is all a part of it. So when she said that, pretty much that was the thing. They have no rest. They're constantly under, the gun. They're constantly under, they get a chance to sleep or whatever, but from the moment they get up, they're constantly working for this system. You see? So it says, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the M to the A to the R to the K of his name. You see? So it's a trick bag. See, it's a and in the movie, right? They painted it as something that would be beneficial to the people because of their condition. They were destitute, they were desperate. So they offered this to them, but they didn't tell them all of the, everything that goes along with it, because it was an experiment. Just like this is an experiment, just like 2020 was an experiment. All right. So, I would say go see the movie, because, check it out, because it's first of all, it's free. It's a decent movie. It shows you certain pointers and certain things that pretty much we've been saying through the Spirit, and that's another thing too. We've been speaking about this even before the YouTube era, going way back into the 90s. Elder Passar knew about it before that, and pretty much we've been speaking about it through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and it's here. And a lot of people scoffed at it, laughed at us, ridiculed us, mocked us, tried to make us look ridiculous, because at the time there was nothing happening. This is why the Lord said, though it tarry, wait for it, for it will surely come, it will not tarry. And it's here. It's not coming, it's already here. It's just a matter of implementing it, to the world. And you see how everything's going in the direction of a digital currency. All right, so I'm just going to read a couple more precepts and then we'll close it out. Ezekiel 33 and 30. Also, thou son of man, the children of thy people still are talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from the Lord. And you even have scoffers among those that know that they're Israelites. Because when you mock this, what's coming, the MO to the TB, and say that it's not the C-hip, and you mock that, what happens is, you're a scoffer. But you're just a scoffer that knows he's an Israelite. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, right? And they hear thy words, but they will not do them. Why? Because they're not giving, the rest of these Israelites out here the warning. It says, for with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. Yeah, because they're not, at the end of the day, they're not really concerned about the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the penalty and consequences for taking that thing. It says, and lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument. For they hear thy words, but they do them not, right? And they're not going to do it. They're going to continue on until they fall into that trap. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. Right, but it's only when it's too late. That's the only time when Jake wants to hear, when it's too late and the Most High already opens up the floodgates of hell upon him, the constant juggernaut ass whooping on them. Then they want to repent. Oh, we always knew that, it's going to be too late then. Now is the time to get involved. And the last precept I have is 2 Peter 3 and 3, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, right? And they're not listening. They're just doing whatever the hell they want to do. They're not warning Jake out there what's coming. They're telling Jake it's not. Some of them are even as bold as saying, well, you're going to take it, I'm going to take it, because you want to eat, and I want to eat, and our families want to eat, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. You have even some individuals that know that they're Israelites that say that, this is not going to happen until way later to our grandchildren. And they've been saying that. Jake been saying that before, and you have Israelites that's call himself in the truth saying that. That's going to be for, way down the road. Putting off the day of the Lord. when all of the signs and the prophecies are there. They're speaking loud and clear. You know, it would take a spiritual retard not to see it. You know, the only way you won't see it is if the Lord blinded you, or if you took the bag and you're turning a blind eye to it. You know, so pretty much, if you get a chance, watch this movie, Implanted. It came out in 2021. The director is Fabian Dufils, and it's a decent watch. Pertaining to the times that we're living in, the technology that's out here, the MO to the TB, being the C hip, but they don't show the C hip, but it's the same thing. It's an imp to the lant. Just put it together. You get the word here. And that's the very definition of the word charagma, which is the Greek word for the M to the A to the R to the K. And when you go into it and you analyze it and you go into the different root words, it shows you that it's talking about that C hip. Total control. And that's why the scriptures say that knowledge shall increase. So with that, I pray that you brothers and your few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.